Hi there, and welcome to another of my chaotic camera episodes. Today I'm gonna talk about the Rolleiflex new standard 1938 and the Lubitel 166B. Well, what I have to tell about it. Okay, here we go. It's improvisation. This one looks like it has survived a war, and actually it did survive a war. Because it's from 1938. It's basically, I think, the cheapest Rolleiflex you can get. Nobody actually wants it. The newer the Rolleiflexes get, the more expensive they will be. And the very old ones are collector's items, so they get expensive too. So new is expensive, very old expensive, new standard. On the internet I found you should buy them around 250 USD, and that's exactly what I paid for it more than a year ago. I only shot 2 rolls with this one. Yesterday I shot my second roll. It's a nice camera. It weighs, I put it on a scale, kitchen weighing thing, 850 grams approximately. Viewfinder, nice. It's quite dim, like in outdoors it's no problem. Indoors it's a dim viewfinder. The lens is a 7.5 centimeters, so pretty standard on a medium format camera. I was surprised by the quality of the lens. It's not soft, but it's not tack sharp. It has a nice softness. It's not low in contrast, but it's not high in contrast. It has but when you scan your negatives, you can add contrast in post-production. It's a really nice machine to handle, because you wind it and it will block. Then the shutter is here. You push it. It's a very gentle sound because it's a twin reflex. There is no mirror inside. Bah, that flips up. So it's very silent. Doesn't shake. The focusing compartment is made of one block, so the two lenses cannot be get out of line. Focusing is done by the button here, so you can keep it in your hand and focus very nicely like this. Here on top you can read the shutter speed and the aperture, which is set by the two handles here and here, so you can move them, but you don't have to turn the camera. You can read it up here, cock the shutter and fire. There's only one thing you have to know: the first frame the shutter doesn't stop, the winding mechanism doesn't stop. So when you have to put a roll in, you have to wind it like 2 times and a half or 3, and then it should be at frame 1, and you fire it, and from that on, now there is another film inside. When you wind it, it will block and go to the second frame. So multiple exposures are impossible to do unless you rewind your film. Opening is quite easy. You pull this one and it opens. Light leaks, not really, it's very tight. This one has never been revised, so expect the shutter speeds when it's 74 years old. Expect the shutter speeds not to be okay. That's difficult for internet buying, because they always say the shutter speeds appear to be okay, or they sound to be okay. So the seller is not lying when he says it appears to be okay. In this case, it overexposures 2 to 3 stops. I have a lot of cameras, and those old leaf shutters are prone to slowing down. But what I do when you have the ability to buy one and check it is opening the body, putting it on its widest aperture, which is in this case 3.5, picking a slow shutter speed, winding it and looking through the hole. Now you can't really see this, but what's important for me, it doesn't have to be precise. Now it's up to 250, so I have to take a slow shutter speed. So this was a half a second. This is definitely more than half a second. It's like 21, 20, yeah, it's a second. So, or even more than a second. That's not a problem. When you know it, you adjust. You adjust it when you shoot. What's important for me is that it closes in one smooth movement. Click. You see? I have old leaf shutters which close in like 2 steps. First it closes half way down, and then it's slowly closes entirely. Then you will always have an overexposed part in the middle or underexposed part at the sides of your frame. So basically a shutter which has slowed down through the decennia is not a problem for me. Actually nobody wants this camera because it's too good to do lomography, and it's not good enough to do serious photography. I've been comparing it, the shutter speeds, like for ages on Hasselblad. So shooting this one and then watching the speed and shooting this one, I have to say it's very difficult to see the difference between a 500 and a 250th second. And the problem with this is it still costs 250 USD, but you can easily pay 300, 350 for it. A Hasselblad, this one is from 74, the other one is from 67. Hasselblad, not with this beauty, but with a standard 80mm lens, you can find for 300 euros, 350 USD, and these babies deliver professional quality even after 40 years. I've got an example. This picture is taken in Paris. I printed it on canvas, meter and 20 on a meter and 20. The detail is a bit lost because of the canvas, but when you open it on the computer, you can actually see in this window standing somebody. When you see it, it's like a fraction of the picture. So these Hasselblad 80mm lenses are extremely sharp. This one is a crop from the Rollei. The actual picture, this is like 20 centimeters. The actual picture should be 1 meter on 1 meter, but yeah, maybe you cannot see it on the video, but it's sharp enough to be nice. But if this should have been a Hasselblad picture, you could definitely see the statues, wearings. Should have been a lot sharper. Well, so I'm making a little noise now. So yesterday arrived a Lubitel 166B. This is a different kind of camera. It's plastic. They call it a lightweight. This one weighs 610 grams without the straps. This is the sound of plastic. This sounds different. This is sound of hollow plastic, thick plastic. Normally there should not be any backlight. I don't know how you pronounce it in English, because we call it in Dutch backlight, because it's like invented by Leo Backland. He had Belgian origins, but of course moved to the US. So this is the version which is produced by Lomography these days, the 166 Plus, weighs, according to the internet, 450 grams. The Lubitel 166B weighs, according to the internet, 540, but this one weighs 610, and without a film inside. So I don't know. It's also, this one has colored rings. A normal version. I don't know if it's a special. It's a strange version. It's a real one, because who would fake a cheap bastard like this? It's a nice camera. It's not a bastard. I paid like 20 euros for it, and it's when the serial normally the factory of Lomo. The first two numbers refer to the building date, so this should be built in 1980. On the LCAs it is, so it's made in the same factory. Also the sign Lomo here is colored. Normally it's black. There is a film inside, so I can't open it, but it's there are parts in here which look like backlight, I don't know, backlit. But normally a 106. Oh, sorry, there are. Yes, I'm coming. Ja. Sorry for the delay, damn it, I was expecting another camera to arrive. So this is the viewfinder of the is a bit crappy. You see, I don't like it. It's very bright, that's the only part I like about it. It's a 4x4 viewfinder instead of 6x6, but it gives the same image as your final 6x6 image. So the lens is, I adjust it. You see the tunnel vision? You have to really keep it at the waist level. When you come too close or you move the body a little bit, you get a circular image, which is not the case with this one. People complain that it's hard to focus. My shots, I shot one roll yesterday, but got the results already. My shots are pretty good in focus, not only the ones shot on infinity. So I don't know why people complain about being difficult to focus. There is a magnifying glass in here, which that's also on the Rolleiflex. The funny thing is, this machine is like 30 years old, and it seems like it has never been used. These lenses are connected with a radar, like we call it radar. I don't know how it's called in English, but when you twist this lens, the other lens moves. So these can become disconnected. I disassembled more than one camera. When you focus to the closest point and then give it a really hard twist, normally they come loose, so you can unscrew them. But when you assemble it back together, it's difficult to get the right focus. There are techniques with making a ground glass and stuff to adjust your focus, but it's so maybe when people are complaining about it's difficult to focus, they have one that has been disassembled by someone, and so the two lenses are not perfectly in the same focus, or by a fall or a twist, it takes and do something wrong, or they just haven't got enough experience focusing on these kind of focus screens. Because I have to admit I've been using Hasselblad for 10 years. When I first tried to do those shallow depth portraits, 1 out of 3 shots was perfectly, you know, the eye and the eyelashes thing was in focus. So I always had to take 3 shots, handheld. Started using a tripod afterwards. So, but basically, maybe people do not have enough experience focusing this kind of cameras, or the mechanism here isn't perfectly aligned. I don't know. It's not that it's fun to shoot. It can do doubles. I'm not gonna load it now because there is a film inside, but you have to push this lever down and then you fire it by pushing this. Yesterday on a roll of 12 shots, I accidentally, when I cocked it, fired the shutter twice. So yeah, they gave nice funny doubles anyway, but when I do doubles I like to do them intentionally. So I knew it when I first saw the camera. It was like, yes, I'm gonna, when I cock it, I'm gonna hit this button. Bam, my first shot, and I did it. So aperture and speed settings are on the side. This is annoying, and you have to also move these levers. But the annoying part is, to see your aperture you have to turn the camera. So on this one you just hold at the waist level and you read out the aperture and the speed on top of it. And also focusing has to be done by turning the lens. So when you turn the top lens you don't see anything because your hand is in front of the lens, which reflects the image on your viewfinder. So you turn the it's not just it isn't handy. It's much easier when you can focus on the side. The winding button, it's plasticky and it feels like it can fall off any moment. Oh yeah, what I didn't like about the viewfinder is not only that it has this circular image, but it's like viewing, it's very bright, but it's like viewing through glasses when you don't wear any glasses. To get drunk for free kind of feeling. So I get a little bit dizzy when I look through the viewfinder. So it's really focusing. I use this magnifying glass. Yeah, this is low quality. It flabbers and goes everywhere. On this camera, of course, it's bigger and it's yeah. This was a top of the line camera back in the 30s. So yeah, no discussion about it. But actually this one is very nice when you know you can have it for on eBay it goes between like $15 US to 100. So if you look a bit, you can buy it for a 20. Shipment cost is like 10 to 20. So it's a reasonable price for a very nice camera. So if you have to buy a TRR, buy this one, because for the price of this one you can get a Hasselblad 500C from the late 60s, which in my case I have two and they both work perfectly. So this was it for today. Have I got anything more to say? No, 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 no. Yeah. Yes, I'm very, very heavy into Russian cameras these days. So next time I will be doing something on this motherfucker, Kiev 60. Bam. I bought it especially because of this lens. It's a 30mm fisheye. It's bam bam. Yep. Ta-da. So next time I will tell you about it. It's quite dangerous to buy these because people say, and I believe them, that the Russian factories had little or no quality control. So you actually could buy this straight from the factory with a lot of defects and faults. So you have to be a little bit lucky. But it is like the cheapest way to shoot Kiev 60, and this lens is like the cheapest way to shoot fisheye on a full frame, 30mm on a full frame, a medium format. Because this one is like 150 euros. I paid 100 for the camera. That's the same amount I paid for a Pelang for with a Nikon mount. But the Pelang got stuck on my Nikon mount. That's another story. So the Pelang. So I rather prefer this combo, which the only stupid thing is the camera and the lens together weighs about 3 kilos. The camera alone is a kilogram 560. This one is 1400. So it's like 2 kilograms of 960. So you can say 3 kilograms, and that's a heavy load. But yeah, it's wide. Like when you want to go wide angle on Hasselblad, the Hasselblad doesn't cost you much, but this Dagon 40mm will cost you a lot. Let's say it this way. But this is not a fisheye. This is fisheye. The other way to shoot when you want to shoot medium format, and the cheapest option is a Diana F Plus with a 38mm plastic lens. You know, when you want to spend money, you buy a Hasselblad Distagon. Distagon. Hello, I'm a Distagon. Yes. I didn't know Hasselblads talk with this voice. Hello. So this one from now on talks in this voice. Hello, I'm a Hasselblad Distagon. The Kiev. Yeah. Kiev is like made of tank. I think they had plate steel left from the Russian tanks and they used it in the Kiev. Sorry, Russian friends. You make good stuff for reasonable for fucking great prices. You made crap stuff too. Sorry, I have to say that. My daddy drove a Lada. It was made of plate steel too, because it was really heavy. It took like 3 miles before it reached not top speed, but it reached some. acceptable driving speed. When you put gas in it, it doubles in value. Yeah, it was a nice car. It was real drive. So you could actually take the corners in a rally style. They weren't that ugly. People thought they were ugly. No, they were kind of cool if you tuned them. Yeah. put a sports spoiler on it. Yeah, I have a Lada with a sports spoiler. And a double twin turbo. And those plastic seats in summer, they became so hot you just could burn your ass when you sat on them. Yeah. Anyway, TF60. Should recommend it to everybody. I've seen them on eBay for like more than $300. Don't buy it. Go and look for maximum 100. I'm a bit of an eBay shark and an addict too, but keep looking. So the final piece of advice is, when you want a KF60 for a reasonable price, don't enter KF60 in your search term, because then you get the KF60s, and everybody who wants a KF60 is there. So what I do is I just do Russian camera or vintage camera, and then you get like 700 results, and I browse them one by one. It's really fun, boring, and suddenly you stumble upon a Kiev, which is not labeled Kiev in the search terms, but labeled old Russian camera, mostly by a guy who doesn't know shit about cameras. So then you have to trust your instinct and your eBay experience. So this one was sold by a guy who basically knew nothing about cameras. He said it was a 2.8 90mm lens, and it's an 80mm lens. The yellow filter was not included in the description. Very funny. This 20mm extension tube wasn't in his description either. It was on the lens. So he said all is in working order. When he tested it with this on the camera, I don't know how he did it, because this 80mm becomes a close-up lens. So this was not in the item description, and I got a Kiev 20mm extension tube. If you have to buy it from Nikon, it's like, these things are always expensive, because it has a button, so the aperture preview works. It's really nice. You can focus up to like 20 centimeters when you add this to that. So the guy who sold it didn't know the camera is in perfectly working order. Got lucky again. So you had to watch a lot of bullshit and hear a lot of crazy stuff to come to the final advice. Search on eBay on the wrong search term until you find a camera which doesn't pop up when you enter the camera you're looking for. Basically, there are fewer people than hunting that camera down. Yeah, probably you already knew that, and then this video was a complete waste of your time. But anyway, it was a waste of my time too, so yeah. So I don't have to do the Kiev video anymore. I think I pretty much covered that. It's a nice machine. I love it. It arrived also yesterday. Shot already a roll with it. It's very sharp. This lens is very good. It's very heavy. That's yeah. I'm a guy. I like heavy stuff. I feel when I'm walking through the streets with like a baby camera, I'm feeling ridiculous. It's like a compensation for a joke. Yeah, I feel a really tough guy when I'm like holding a Kiev. It's like, hey dude, wanna rob me? I'm gonna hit your head with this communist piece of metal. When I'm holding a Hasselblad, it's different. It's like, please don't fall. But when I'm holding a Kiev, it's like, gonna hit your head with it, boy. Going to hit you. I have it with my Nikon F4, same feeling. But that's like more Japanese stuff, like, gonna do a karate move, using an F4. Now it's like, hey, my little tank. Like, in fact, I always expected to open this, that this is gonna open and gonna come a little tank barrel out of it, shooting miniature grenades at people. But I didn't found the secret locker. Well, goodbye for now. This really has to end. Blah. Gonna make stupid noises. Blah. ADHD. You're born with it.